Yes, indeed, folks. Apologies for the stream going down there. It was rather unfortunate. A cat came in. Yes, indeed. A cat came into the room and decided the best thing to do would be to attack the loose USB connection in the back of my EMU 0404 external audio interface. The cat was mistaken. Unfortunately, it brought the stream down. Whatever the case. Anyway, let's get back on with the show. I think that's a good idea, don't you think? Pretend nothing happened. Oh, wait, too late. Okay. So I'm bored. Completely. Utterly, totally bored. Bored, and bored again. You wanna know why? Let me tell you for the next 15 minutes. So, I had trouble coming up with content for this show. I had trouble coming up with content for the last few shows. I am bored of World of Warcraft at this point in time. It's not the first time. Now, what happens when I get bored with World of Warcraft? Well, I tell you what happens when I get bored with World of Warcraft, ladies and gentlemen. I stop doing the show for a time. Therein lies the problem. Now, there's not an awful lot I can do about that, honestly. I can't do a show if I'm so incredibly bored with the game that I can't even get angry about it. Now, why am I bored? So, this entire expansion has been an exercise in boredom. A disgraceful exercise in bad design and boredom. To the point where it's driven me, and it's driven my fellow veteran players to absolute infuriation. Disgraceful infuriation. So let me tell you a little bit about it, shall I? So right now we're sitting in Ice Crown. And it's boring. You want to know why it's boring? Because we've been there for months. Months and bloody months. So what are we going to do about it? Let's go back to do some hard modes? No, there's no point. We're overgeared now. All of this content completely obsolete. Level some alts. Oh no, I don't like alts. They're awful. Why is it that I'm bored of Wrath at this stage of the game, whereas I was not bored of TBC? Well, I can tell you that. It's pretty damn obvious. The issue is that looking at the same damn instance for 6 months is really bloody dull. Now, some might say, well, Toll Biscuit, you've got content ahead of you. You got hard modes, and you haven't killed Syndragoza yet. Yes, that's true. I'll tell you what would make me a slightly less bored, Blizzard, if you manage to make it so the Syndragoza fight doesn't lag out 20% of my bloody raid group. And it does. Freaking blue flames somehow lag out my raid group. I don't know why. Terribly optimized engine, perhaps. They haven't done anything to sort out. Awful. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about what is boring about this expansion. There's so much to say about it. The linear progression path. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the fact that Blizzard thinks that hard modes count as 2 instances. Maybe even that 10 and 25 man counts as 4 instances. They might actually believe this. Funnily enough, they may in fact believe it. Wow. How utterly ridiculous. Here's a pro tip for Blizzard Entertainment. Hard modes are nice, don't get me wrong, but you know what they are? They're supposed to be a difficulty setting. Are you going to tell me that your 20-hour game is in fact 40 hours long because you have multiple difficulty settings? I sure hope not, because it's not right. You don't. That's nonsense. Do you go into any game and say, oh, this is a 12-hour game? Oh, no, look, there is a hard difficulty setting. Or maybe there is a medium hard difficulty setting. It's double the content. No, it isn't. It is not double the damn content. And that's the problem. they're viewing it in entirely the wrong way. If you don't want to balance your content so that it's actually challenging and fun for everybody, and say the barrier to entry is your suck, then you've got to accept that hard modes are not bonus content. Hard modes are difficulty settings designed to mitigate the fact that you made content that is boring. That's what they're for. That's the purpose. That's what they should be being used for. They should not be used as an excuse to wait months and months and months to come up with some other raid content to entertain people. 6 months now in ICC, ladies and gentlemen. And how long are we going to have to wait for more content? Oh yes, the Ruby Sanctum. The reskinned Sartharian Zone. Won't that be wonderful? That will surely keep us going until the launch of Cataclysm, which I project will be in November. The absolute earliest will be slightly before BlizzCon. And that's months away. So let me tell you this. There is a difference, a real, genuine difference, between the content and the expectation when it comes to the difference between a pay-to-play game, like an MMO, and a normal game off the shelf. Here's the difference. If I buy a $40 game, then I have a certain expectation as to the amount of content that I'm going to get out of it. And as long as that is included, then I'm fine. That's okay. I feel like I've got my money's worth. Now, if I get bored in the meantime, then that is the fault of the company in question. They have not made a compelling experience which was worth my cash. And that's a real problem. That's where bad games come in. If I pay $40 for a game, I expect a certain degree of content. Now, in the case of World of Warcraft, let's see. How much have we paid? Well, let's assume that I paid for 5 years, because I've been off every now and again. I cancel my sub when I get bored. I don't just stick around and pay money for something that I'm not playing, because, you know, that's dumb. So, let's break out the calculator, shall we? Let's have a look. $8.99 times by 60. 5 years. £539.40. That's not including things like expansion packs, transfer fees, and all that kind of nonsense. It's quite a bit of money, isn't it? How much content do you expect for that money, ladies and gentlemen? How much additional entertainment? Well, I can tell you, I expect some genuine advancement. To the point where I am not sitting in the same dungeon for 6 months. Let's do another calculation, shall we? Something nice and easy for you. Get your minds working. A little bit of mental arithmetic. $8.99 times by 6. You have been paying £54 for the privilege of raiding the same dungeon for 6 months. What about those of you who use the dollar? 15 times by 6. You have been paying $90 for the privilege of raiding the same dungeon for 6 months. Now, how much content do I expect for $90? Well, let me think. I could buy 2 full-priced AAA titles. I could buy 9 cheap titles out of the bargain bin for that. Get a lot of entertainment. And a lot of people will say, well, WoW's great value for money because you get so many hours of play out of it. That's true. However, if you're repeating the same content over and over and over again, tell me exactly how much content you're really getting out of it. If I play 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand, over and over and over again, how much content am I really getting out of it? Let's be honest. And what if I had to, in fact, pay for the privilege $15 a month to pay and play 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand, over and over and over again? What if that were the case? Because that's what you're doing right now, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is. That is exactly, as a raider, what you are doing right now. Running on a treadmill of exactly the same content, with no end in sight. With the only raid coming in before the Cataclysm expansion, which still has not been dated. Still. Is a reskin of the Sartharian instance. The Obsidian Sanctum. Dear God in heaven. And you wonder why I'm bored. Bear this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a sandbox. This is as the EVE developers CCP so accurately described it. Theme park. Yes, indeed. It is a theme park. That means you're going to the same theme park, day in, day out. And they're building new rides, probably at the same rate that a theme park does, like one every few months. And what would happen if you kept going into that theme park day in, day out, ladies and gentlemen? Sure, the content is there, is it not? You could ride the roller coaster over and over again, but every time it just seems that slightly less magical, don't you think? That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what is going on right here. The fact of the matter is that, yes, if I pay my $15 a month, I expect a degree of content update way beyond what I'm getting right now. Way beyond what everyone is getting right now. This is not an acceptable level of development. It isn't. Why have we been in the same dungeon for 6 months? What are you going to do? Tell me to make my own fun? Like I said before, this ain't no sandbox. This isn't EVE. I can't go and start an interstellar war that might have repercussions through the entire galaxy. I can't change the world in any way, shape, or form. No. I can't do that. I can run on the treadmill. I can play it again, Sam. How about no? Just think about that. Do I really want to do that? No, I don't. I have no interest in doing that. I'm sick to the back teeth of that freaking raid dungeon. Honestly, I am. Yes, I expect more raids. Yes, I expect Blizzard to treat Hardmodes in the way that they're supposed to be treated. We can't even get into them yet. We haven't even got there. Now, are you telling me that Sindragoza is easier than heroic Marigar? Than heroic freaking airship battle? It's not, is it? Hard modes are a difficulty setting. Hard modes are not, oh look, double the content. It is the incorrect way to view them, and that's Blizzard's failing right now, amongst other things. So you know what? If I continue to get bored, I'm not going to play anymore. Because I don't like paying money for something that isn't providing me value. It's not just about quantity, folks. It's not just about, oh, well, I played, let's have a think about it. So if I raid 7 hours a week, which I do, give or take, 7 times 4, work it out in your head, I'm sure you can. For 28 hours. Okay, I get 28 hours for my $8.99. That's great value! Except it's not, because quantity is not the only factor, so is quality. And every time you repeat that same content, as lovely as it may have seemed the first time, as wonderful as it may have seemed the first time around, it simply does not hold my attention when I've done it 50 frickin' times. And Blizzard have got to realize that. They really do. They honestly have to realize it. Just look at all that wasted content just sitting there. Naxxramas, Ulduar with its hard modes, TOC with its hard modes. All of this stuff that's not being done by anybody. Not even an attempt to get people back in there, except for the false promise of badges. God. What are we paying for? Someone please tell me, what the hell are we paying for? Because I feel really dumb. I feel hoodwinked. I feel really stupid. Because I've just been paying money for the past 6 months to play the same thing over and over again. God! Why would I do that? My name is Soul Biscuit. You're listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrits.com. Be right back after the break with the illusion of choice. Email themurloc@gmail.com or themurloc@cynicalbrit.com if you want to be more official, whatever the hell, I do not care. Let's play some great music. I'll be right back after this. Enjoy.